What's up, watch friends? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. Today is part 2 of the Q&A. Since last night's Q&A, I had that one question with guitar players, which I thought was the most awesome question ever. So I had to do this one in 2 parts because I had so many questions. I'm not going to roll the intro again because of the amount of questions I have here. If you are interested in having a question answered, watch related or not, as long as it's a cool question, leave it in the comments below, and then it'll be featured on an upcoming Q&A. So having said that, I do appreciate everyone who likes and subscribes. I really do appreciate it, and a lot of my subscribers that I've known throughout the years now know how much I appreciate you guys. So having said that, it's just that part of me, I guess. Let's move on with the questions. First one comes from Joel Bolt, 88. Great show as always. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What do you think about the 2023 Rolex GMT Master 2? I'm torn between the two-tone GRNR and the Batgirl. Well, what do I think of the 2023 GMT Master 2? I have one, so I love it. It's an awesome watch, and you're torn between this one and the GRNR. The GRNR is the two-tone, right? Yeah, it's the rose gold and stainless steel. That's the newest reference that came out last year. Watches and Wonders, when it was shown for all the world to see. It's up to you, man. I mean, it's like, I'm not so much a two-tone guy, but I do love that watch. I really, really, really love that watch. And at the same time, having the Batgirl, I kind of want to go, oh, I love the GRNR. I would take that one. But then, really, essentially, overall, you can't go wrong with the Batgirl. So it's up to you, man. Just whatever your preference is, figure it out. Because you don't want to buy something and go, oh, I wish I would have bought this one, or I wish I would have bought this one. You know what I mean? Just try them on. That's the only thing I can, and then maybe take photos of them, and and then just see what suits you better, what your skin tone is, as opposed to, and do you like it? So best of luck, and I hope you get what you want, man. Appreciate it. Al Bundy 3929. What's up, Al? Tone Lo. I used to see Tone Lo all the time. He lives right down the street from me. And there was a liquor store in Toluca Lake, which is no longer there anymore, but I used to see him in there all the time. And I've had a few conversations with him. Really super cool guy. Would you spring for the Sapphire Caseback Daytona if offered, or would you prefer the steel given the price difference? Well, the steel, the Daytona with the display caseback is white gold. So you're looking at substantially more money. So, and I don't really care about the display case back. I'm so used to Rolex not having them, it's kind of weird. Nothing against them, because I'd love to see it, but I'd still go with the steel, I think. Yeah. Appreciate it, brother. Jonathan Smith, 283. I have on a Rolex Batgirl on. That sounds like Homer Simpson, like when he's been drinking. I have on a Rolex Batgirl on. All good, man. Awesome. That's awesome, dude. I think the Oyster bracelet would be better bracelet. I don't. Not on the GMT anyway. I mean, that's just my preference, But I do obviously like the Oyster on the OP and the sub, Take a peek at the IWC 503502 Portugueser and annual. I think you mean annual calendar. What are your insights? I think it's super piece. Thanks, bud. Yeah, man, I'm not a huge IWC fan. I do like the Mark 20, real simple, pilot watch. And that's about it as far as IWCs go. Just never really got into them. So I'm sure it's a nice watch, man, but it's not something that would be on my radar as far as a purchase. But you never know. Things can change, So I appreciate it. Balkan Shed. Thanks, Tony, for answering my question. It's appreciated as always, as I appreciate your comments as always. I'll definitely check out Wolf Travel Roll. Yeah, Wolf are good. In reference to trolls on the channel, do you think there is more trolls on watch-related channels than on other topics channels? I have a small channel where I make videos mostly about EDC. EDC is everyday carry, for those of you who don't know. You know, everyday carries, or even more like whether it be a flashlight or a knife, a pen, like this is part of an EDC. This pen, it's basically it's a CRKT, James Williams pen. Yeah, can't even hold it, but that's just my bad because I haven't picked it up in a while. And firearms. There you go, firearms. A while back, I made a watch-related video and received more negative comments and insults on that one video than all of my other videos combined. So I just ended up deleting it. It seems that in the watch community, people get butt hurt a lot easier if you don't agree with them than they do on other channels with other topics. Just my 2 cents. So yeah, I've had other channels as far as like music stuff, but you know, and I do find that in the watch world, a lot of people, they don't believe that there should be any disagreements or this brand or this brand, because what their opinion is the only one that matters, and they want to let you know that. And generally with the trolls, and yes, I agree, I think there's more trolly comments on watch YouTube than anything else. It kind of boggles my mind, some of the most ignorant comments you get from some people sometimes, and you're just like, really, man? You know, I get them. You know, I do get the comments, and I just sit there and is that really what you want to spend your time on doing? By all means, have at it, dude. And those generally, the troll comments generally come from people that most likely don't even have a luxury watch and will never be able to get a luxury watch because they're too busy in their mom's basement, you know, being a keyboard warrior and just telling you how they feel. You know what I mean? No, it's just the way it is. I don't understand it. It's a watch, you know, whether it's a Rolex Omega, whatever, Bulova, whatever it may be, it's just a freaking watch, man. And if you don't dig someone's watch, don't attack them for it. You know what I mean? Don't tell them it's a piece of shit and fucking Omega's the shit, Grand Seiko's the shit, dude. What's up with that, really? It's just your opinion. That's why there's so many different brands out there, because if everyone was exactly the same, life would be pretty freaking boring, wouldn't it? Same car, same watch, same house, same clothes. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Good luck with your channel, though, by the way, too. Hey, and like, speaking of that, hey, Tony with an I. Clearly, you know, you just said that 41 millimeter is too big, but still you just bought a Cartier and a Zenith, both 41 millimeter. So what about that? See, dude, if you're from the United States, then I will take this as more of you're trying to be a dick. If you're from somewhere else in the world and your English isn't your first language, then I'd let it slide a bit, because, you know, to be honest with you, I can go 2 ways with this question. I can say, one, yeah, I did. I bought 2 other 41 millimeters when I said 41 millimeters is too big. 40 is about the top of where I want to go. But my reasons because of it is really not your business. You know what I mean? And why do I prefer smaller watches now? I do, with Rolex specifically. You ever wear a 41 millimeter Datejust or an OP? It's kind of just a big plate on your wrist. Okay, so here's the thing. You can take a 36 millimeter, right? Or you can take a 41 millimeter. The 41 millimeter wears too big. It just does. I'm not saying all 41 millimeter watches wear too big. Depends. 41 millimeters also depends on the circumference of the dial versus the bezel, right? Is there more dial or is there more bezel in that watch, right? So some watches that are 41 millimeter can actually appear to be smaller and wear better. Generally 41 is a little too big. My Cartier that I just bought, the Pasha, is a little too big. It's unfortunate. I wish it was a 40, or I wish it was a 38. I just tried on a 38 the other day and was like, that's the perfect size. But at the same time, the Cartier is also thin, you know what I mean? So it doesn't have this big bulk on your wrist. Like, say, for instance, a 41 sub is more bulky than a 41 Cartier Pasha, or the Zenith for that matter. So, you know, I can get more in depth with that, but, you know, some watches wear bigger and some watches wear smaller, okay? So, I want to say thanks for your question, but I don't really care. West RC12. excuse me, how tight do you wear your Batgirl on your wrist? I'm finding it either too tight or too loose. I don't know. It's got an adjustment, man. Sometimes that happens. I don't know if I'm gonna just put it on my wrist, and I'll just show you. So it's not too tight. I'm sorry, and it's not too loose. It's got, it fits perfect. I think if you're talking about, the Jubilee bracelet, depending on how you wear it. Okay, so on the Datejust, this one's jangly. I'm going to do a video on Jubilee stretch and why and how it happens and whatever. This one is a little looser and it's more jangly, right? You can hear that. That's that, all right? There's a reason being. It's because this is a 29-year-old Rolex, and this is an almost 1-year-old Rolex. Not quite a year old. Or it is a year old, actually. I got to do a video on that, don't I? So, you just got to find that fine line. Take it to an AD and have them just size it on the OP. It's the most comfortable watch I have is this OP. So thanks for your question, man. Good luck. If you have that watch, obviously you do. So I would, I would take it to an AD and say, hey, look, I just got to get this figured out. They'll take time, shoot, I'm like, I don't. Okay, I get you. Thanks for your question. This is from TB Profile 1295. Speaking of this, very nice. Being a hollow linked bracelet, how does it feel? Sturdy? You're talking about, I did my video last week on this Datejust that I just showed you guys. So when it comes down to the links, right, you've got, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but the center links are hollow, and you can actually see right through them. Okay. And also, again, with the stretch, on this one is not too bad. The stretch is not too bad. I'm gonna just hold that up like that. So it is. Sorry, it does have stretch, but not a ton. This watch is jangly. You know what I mean? It's because of for one, the stretch, the links being hollow, and whatever. Whereas you take the Jubilee on the Batgirl, sorry, it's just there's no stretch. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on that. But this is a much more solid bracelet and a much more solid watch, and the same with the OP. But yeah, so it's jangly. It's not, and plus the weight makes it lighter because those hollow center links, make the watch much lighter. The OP is a much more solid watch than this Datejust, although being 36 and 36 millimeters. Hey, I'll do videos on those, man. I think that question kind of warrants a video in itself. But thanks for your question, man. Gino816, I'm curious what your thoughts are about the smaller brands, Monta, Ferrer. Could you see yourself buying one? If so, which one impresses you the most? None of them really impress me, I would say. And yes, I do know Monta and I do know Ferrer, but then every time I see that brand, I think of Anthony Ferrer, Timepiece Gentleman. I'm like, fuck, no. But at the same time, he has nothing to do with that watch brand, by the way. But yeah, I don't know, and I haven't looked into him that deep. I can look at a watch and I can look at any watch and appreciate it if it's nice looking and especially if there's quality there. Doesn't necessarily mean I buy it, because I've bought tons of watches over the years that I think look really freaking cool, and then that's the trial and error part of everything. You just find you don't wear them or whatever, or wear them as much or whatever, So yeah, cool. Okay, so this one was actually I was going back and forth with Metagirl. And so this is basically about, actually this is just a sort of a thread of when we were talking, so not so much a question. It was, when do you think the trend for larger watches began? In the mid 2000s? And I said, well, yeah, I think more early 2000s, when Jacob & Co. came out, and then every rapper started wearing the Jacob & Co., the 5 time zone watch. So it was a big freaking plate on your wrist. It was huge. And I think that's about when it started happening, and then it just went from there. And then the second one was, when do you think women started wearing larger watches? And I think about almost the same time, because I remember being at Starbucks when I lived in Encino, which doesn't mean a lot to a lot of you guys, but several miles away, but it's a nice neighborhood. And I saw Ashley Simpson, that's Jessica Simpson's sister. This is when they were popular, and she was in Starbucks, and she was wearing a big Jacob, and I was kind of like, wow, that watch looks huge on her. Why is she wearing such a big watch, you know? And then nice watch, it looked nice. I mean, still a 5 time zone watch, still kind of internally a piece of shit, but the dial looked cool. And then I started noticing more women wearing bigger watches, and I think that was probably about the same time. Thanks, Metagirl, for your question. This is from Eric106071. Hi, Tony. My question is, what kind of Porsche did you have? I think that stems from a video I did last week, and I said when I was about the earthquake or something, and I was living in a big house, and I also had a Porsche, but I was flat broke. You know, and back then I had, you know, I've had 2, but the first one I had, and the one I'm referencing to when I lived there, was a 914. It was like, I think it was a 1973 or a 1972. And it was absolutely mint condition. I'll throw up a picture that I have. I'm surprised I even have a picture of it, but it was a 1972 or a 73 914. It was white, black interior, mint condition. And I had it converted to a 6-cylinder, so it was like a 914/6, so it fucking hauled ass. It was a great car. It was fun. I said it was a great car. It was just fun and whatever. So that's the kind of Porsche I had back then. This comes from MHIGGI02. Is it Miggy02? Non-watch related question for you. I see you wear a lot of Warner Brothers gear. What is your connection to or affinity for Warner Brothers? Keep on keeping it real, Tony. Thanks, dude. I'd like to keep it real. I have a lot of Warner Brothers connection in my life. You know, I've had a lot of times. I live pretty much on the Warner Brothers lot right now, but I just have. I grew up in the entertainment industry, and a lot of the shows that I'd been sort of on set or whatever was Warner Brothers. A lot of my favorite cartoons have always been Warner Brothers, you know what I mean? Animaniacs and whatever. I've got friends, tons of friends that had worked at Warner Brothers. My buddy who worked, who's got a couple of Emmy nominations for the Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Pinky Elmira in the Brain. And so, yeah, and those were the cartoons I loved at the well, Tiny Toons. When Hysteria came out, just after Animaniacs, that's why Warner Brothers tanked their animation department. But yeah, I just have a lot of connection to it, I guess, man. I don't know. I love Hollywood history as well. So, but having said that, I appreciate you guys. All right, and we'll just see you on the next video. All right.